Hey, it's Jim Csek. You're watching Kelowna Now Live. I'm here with Jayson Zilkie, former city councillor, now dad,
Yep.
right? Parent, dad, husband,
right.
everything.
Yep. Foster parent.
Foster parent. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How many kids?
We have three of our own. We have 9, 8, and 5, and we don't have any foster kids right now, but we had 3 and 1 and 2, and so we've had upwards of 6 kids in our home.
Wow.
So life can get a little bit crazy.
It is crazy. And we were just talking that this is one of the things that we'll probably hit on here because this is our show, Average Canadian. Yeah. The generational family kind of wasn't really in, well, at least not in my world, like in Canadian culture as much as obviously these harder times make it, families come together more and you end up having more and you have, I mean, I coached with your dad a long time ago. Yeah. Coached your sister actually. Yeah. And you have your grandparents around helping out.
Yeah, without grandparents, we would be life would be a lot different and a lot more difficult. So my parents have, and my 3 sisters, we all have about 12 grandkids combined. So my
got
parents,
a big family going on.
There's a lot of get-togethers. My grandparents and my parents are very involved. So yeah, without them, it's very difficult. Not that they take our kids every day, but just to know that they're there. They're
How do
around.
they fit in that Z28?
What's that? Oh yeah, they get. I take it with the kids. Exactly, it's a full family.
Because Grandpa likes his cars, right?
Yep. He's consolidated his collection. He's got 1 classic car today, but it's a nice convertible.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's fun.
So how have things been since you were city councillor for a 4-year term, and how is it post?
Yeah, it was great. So we served a 4-year term in West Kelowna. That was a great experience. I was honored to serve my community. Very difficult. I saw an article the other day talking about how people would run for no money. And it's just so interesting because it's so hard. That is such a hard job to do, to serve your community. Whether you're getting paid a lot or you're getting paid a little, so few people like you. You can make the best decisions for your community. And you have such a vast amount of people that just, they disagree with you, they don't like you, so it's really hard to
and they really want to share that.
They do. You have so few people sharing, hey, thanks, you're doing a great job, thanks for doing this, thanks for all the sacrifices you make. Just, that's not why you're doing it, but you never hear that. So she gets so few.
Well, your dad will know that because it reminds you of coaching. When you're doing a good job, nobody says anything.
Exactly. You're right.
When you do something, well, you played hockey too, right? When you do something wrong, you hear everything, right?
You're on an island. So that, I mean, I honestly had such a great experience. We did an interview on Kelowna Now, me and Councillor Johnson, and we talked about how we really didn't like what was happening during COVID time, and we wanted to have people come back and all those things. And that interview, it didn't change my life, but I had over 1,000 people from all over, not just our community, from all over Canada, reach out to me and say that how thankful they were. And it was that was a really pivotal time and just kind of what we were doing, why we were doing it, and what we kind of believed in. And it was a really incredible experience. I'd probably never share that, but I had thousands of people reach out, call me, email me, and say, hey, thanks for standing up for us in a very difficult time.
Very few people did at that time, right? So
it was hard. And you know what? All the people that were around us told us not to do it, to stay quiet and to kind of go with the narrative, and we didn't. And you know what? It was a life-changing thing that was really. I'm so glad that we had.
And I share that story a lot, and have a tremendous amount of respect for both you and Stephen for doing that. Yeah. And at that time, because it was definitely standing against the wind. It was. And it takes courage, and I'm not saying whether you're right or wrong. I won't say that on here, but what I can say is nobody can doubt the courage to stand for your convictions at that time, right? Because very few did. Even those ones that would say it quietly dare not stand up for it, right? So kudos to you.
It's doing hard things is really when this is something that I live by and we stand with our kids, is when you suffer together, great things happen. And so we like to do as a family, me and my own 3 kids, and when we have foster kids, we like to do hard things. That's just not coming from me. We all like to do hard, difficult things. And when we do it together, it makes things a lot easier.
You played a lot of professional sports though too, right?
Yeah.
So
played some hockey and taught me a lot.
it trains you to compete though, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And to be the best you can be, right? I think that's one thing that you get out of sports for sure, is it teaches you to compete.
Yeah.
And,
totally. So we went out. So we were just gone. We actually took our family. We went away for 3 months. My wife and my 3 kids. We went to we worked in an orphanage in Mexico for a month, and we went to Guatemala for 2 months. And we just learned so much about that. And just we realized that we're different people when we're serving and we're volunteering, we're giving back. And so we got to bring my 9, 8, and 5-year-old. They all had birthdays on the trip, so they got older. And over 3 months, I mean, we did just so many hard things, and we did so many interesting things, and it was so rewarding. But just to go and to not think about yourself for just a small period of time, and you surround yourself with poverty too. You can really learn a lot. And that was what a great experience it was for my family, for my kids, and for me too. We realized as a family we're better people when we're not constantly consumed by our own needs, wants, and desires. When we have them, but they seem so much less. There seems so much more distance when you're around those kind of things. So yeah, it was very cool.
So I'm just going to take you back for a second. A person like yourself and Stephen Johnson with the courage to stand up during those tough times. And then you also made that decision not to run again. You didn't lose the election. You just decided not. Was that a family decision, or is that a decision you made? Or?
Yeah, I just realized that what it takes to the time commitment, really the energy commitment to serve your community. It is a lot, and it's exhausting. And so I have 3 young kids. We were fostering at the time, and so I really said, hey, I want to go into a season where I want to spend as much time as I can with my family. I actually asked if I could do this 3-month trip and stay on council, and they actually had kind of unanimously said, no, you can't do that. They didn't think it was fair for me to do that. So I may have done that, but I may have still ran had they had said, yeah, you can do that. I think, so that was one of the factoring reasons why I didn't rerun in 2022. So that was, I'm thankful that I made that decision. And what I've realized now is things like life changes so quickly. Your kids change so quickly. Like my kids are almost now, they're all going to be in school. They're going to be in, kindergarten, grade 3 and grade 5, all in the same school. And you go from having 2 kids or 3 kids under 4 to now having kind of all in school. Life changes really, really quickly.
Yeah,
that doesn't seem like that long ago. And
so
now
are you coaching, or is Dad coaching?
Oh yeah, I'm you got to be involved. So Grandpa's not as involved as much, but life evolves. And for those people who are in those really hard times where you've got 2 kids and they're not in school yet, it seems like forever, and it seems like so hard. So you always want to flourish in every stage, but some stages you just really is not possible. So now that I'm kind of out of that stage, you can breathe a little bit and do these things. Like we just traveled for 3 months as a family. A lot of these things are possible. But if for those few early years, you need to support grandparents for sure, or family members.
Right. And you obviously have a big family here, right? So
leaning on
leaving
them
your house for 3 months too is something, right?
Yeah. No, we had my family came over and was watching our house while we were away. And so that was well,
you probably have pets too, no?
Fortunate. No pets. We don't have time for pets.
That many kids? No pets? I'll drop some off.
There you go. Yeah.
I've got a Great Dane that needs a home.
Oh, no.
It's a small pony for your kids.
They could ride them. Yeah.
So any political aspirations in the future, do you think?
I don't know. As I said, I think I'm a better version of myself when I'm serving and volunteering and giving back to my community, and I really enjoy that. And you want the best people to lead your community, your country, or whatever that is.
Well, I would say people with courage and conviction would be handy.
It's so hard because you really don't get paid a lot, especially at the municipal level. So how do you attract good leaders? And they want to give themselves a pay raise, and everyone's up in arms about that. So I feel bad for those people because the community doesn't understand the sacrifice you are giving back, and you're not doing it for the money. Of course you get paid and you should be compensated.
I did some baseline calculation for someone because I had this private discussion with somebody, and they were telling me, like too much or whatever. And I said, well, realistically, in a company, you get paid based on the decisions and the responsibilities that you are a part of, right? Yeah. And then the budget that you're managing. And if you take a city like West Kelowna, what is it, about like $500 million? What are you guys running? About $500 million budget, right?
Yeah.
So if you take a $500 million company, and if you look at the leadership team on most companies that are in that $500 million, it's a Fortune 500 company basically, right? So, those numbers are going to be probably, like when I did the calculation, they're probably going to be 5 to 10 times higher than what a city council, or even more in some cases. Because what's West Kelowna? 30.
We're just under 40,000 people.
Yeah. No, but I'm just thinking of the dollar amount what's the city councillor make in West Kelowna?
Oh, it's like 20. When I was there, it was like $27,000.
Right. So they're saying that says to me like your decision making is really bad, and your responsibilities are very light. Right. So those are older, archaic systems based back in the time, and it's hard to make that shift, right? And I guess if it was like even what Kelowna did here, a more palatable way to do it would be for this council to say, we're going to raise the fee, even if they said double, but it's going to be for the next sitting council. Do you know what I mean? Then it doesn't look as bad at the optics wise. I'm not saying it's not deserved. I'm just saying optics wise, it may be.
So this was one of the last things we did in the final year because we didn't want to deal with it, and people were very fair. Yeah. We gave the next council a raise, and I voted for that because I knew, and at that point I knew I wasn't running, and I said, you know what, I know what it takes. You do need to recruit, and if you want the best people leading your community, you can't pay them. You can't underpay them because I still had to work. The sacrifice that I had to do, for my family, for my job, like you leave a lot of money on the table.
But I'm just saying, like if you take the budget and if you say the decision making and the responsibility that you carry, it should be factored in because that's how CEOs make these huge paychecks, right? Like they say, like if you take Elon Musk, obviously, he's taken that company from worth of whatever 100 million to billions of dollars, almost $1 trillion. Yeah, it's probably worth something, right? Yeah, because not a lot of people can do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And you will attract better people. Not that the pay is the biggest thing for many people, but it also should reflect in what you're doing, right?
Yeah,
and then just shows us the seriousness of it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. So, and other communities and even in Alberta, like they do get paid real and they treat it like a full-time job. But you know, as a councillor here in West Kelowna or Kelowna, you really have to have other money coming
because you're paying tax on that too, to be fair. You know what I mean? Totally. If you have a second income, so basically 21,000 ends up being 10.
Right. So it's not had that been tax-free dollars, that's a very fair wage, and I think you can. No, I don't want to say livable, but at least it's a fair wage.
There used to be some allowance in there, but then they took that away just recently, though, too, right? So with that said, families right now, inflation running high, obviously. Even if you can absorb it, it's obviously higher, and you probably see a lot of your friends and family that are like facing tougher challenges, right?
Yeah.
So how as a family do you kind of like get through that? Or
yeah, my wife's at home with our family, and she loves that. I'm so thankful that she's able to do that. But we don't go out much. Like the sacrifices we make are for things like traveling and things like camping, but it's from a day-to-day, like we never eat out. We're very responsible with our money, but it's so hard. Like it's just, I feel bad.
It's getting harder and harder.
Everything is more money, and that sucks. That's not like, there's nothing fun about the times that we're in right now as far as economically. It's just, everything is really just, you have to make difficult decisions every day that we just didn't have to make a couple of years ago. And that wears down on a family financially, especially if you're lower income. And, it's, the government subsidies are not, it's not like it's really, wow, it's now I can do whatever I want to do. It's still, they're so marginal. They don't really make a difference. And so it's tough.
And those people at the gas pump, when they're trying to decide how much they can put in, and then, they still have to get groceries, right? So, that's the ones that the people get hurt the most whenever there's like inflation, and the people that can least afford it usually, right? Because if you're well off, it's an irritation.
They are.
Yeah. If it's, but if you're having to decide whether to heat or eat or do different things, it gets tough, especially if you have kids in sports. And then, I grew up, we're very, I don't know, what's the word? Not well off. We never got to do sports and all that kind of stuff, right? And those are good things for kids, right? Being someone that played sports, right? Like it's good for people's, just social interactions and stuff like that too, right? And then we talked a little bit before we went on was about just having that family unit too. And you said something about a study about how.
I'm grandparents. You're grandpa.
I'm a grandpa now.
But it's, as I say, we honestly as parents, we need our grandparents. So if you're a grandparent listening, get involved. We need you every day. But there was a study, I'd have to reference it, but it basically said the connection and the closer you are, the more time you spend with your grandchildren, it's just the effect on your mental health when the opposite is just like you're straight downhill, and versus like being really like a positive and for longevity of life. And so that rings so true, because you see grandparents who just don't have purpose, and they're really kind of living for themselves. And then the ones that have their grandkids and they're so involved in their life, it's like those people they're really they're totally different people. They have much more purpose, and obviously as a selfish parent, we need that. So we want you to be around as long as possible. So
it's really needed as well. And I think right now a lot of young people are choosing not to have children because they don't think they can afford it. And that's a sad place for Canada to be, where they don't think they can afford to have children, because it is, well, you've experienced and I've experienced, and one of the most rewarding experiences that a person, it's selfless. Some people say it's selfish, but it's completely, you have to give of yourself all the time, right? Do you know what I mean? Because you no longer number one, right? You're quite a few notches down on that pole, right? Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's a huge sacrifice, and it's not all. It's actually it's so well worth it. But like I don't do half the things that I used to do before we had kids, and so they're not all bad. I like way more of the stuff that I do today than I did before.
You're trading some stuff for some other stuff.
But it is the ultimate sacrifice to being a parent, especially those moms that are home every day. Like that is a hard work, a very tough job. They're thankless for sure.
And it was just Mother's Day, so I mean, there's no better. I mean, we all want our mother, right? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? We always go back to that, right? So,
totally.
I guess our dads played a role in there somewhere, right?
But moms
are the ones, right? Glue. Moms are the ones for sure. Happy Mother's Day, belated Mother's Day to those that. What sports are your kids doing?
So we all do soccer. We're not that it's just a very like anyone who's looking for a sport for their kid. It's like $100 a year. It's really inexpensive,
cheap, and it's great activity. Social activity.
The running, the social activity. It's interesting because my they also play hockey and ringette, so they're playing all.
I figured ringette would be in there.
So, but it's the seeing the difference in people that go to a soccer in families versus the people that are playing hockey and ringette. It's a much different type of family that's there, and it's really I like seeing the soccer families because they're. I don't want to say they're lower income, because that's not. I don't really know that for sure, but it's a much different. The affluence of people playing hockey these days, it's really an expensive sport. I don't like it.
It is definitely very, very. And then
but soccer is really cool to see those different types of families. And there's so many kids like playing soccer in the Okanagan. It's the most popular sport.
Kids are signing contracts with an 8-9 now.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of like academies and things like that, but just playing like regular community soccer is super inexpensive, and it's a great way to spend a Saturday morning.
And it's an easy in and out though too, right? And you don't feel as pressured. Like if little Timmy doesn't show up for the game, it's not like the end of the world, right?
There's enough kids. We go camping. We miss a weekend here too.
It's not a stress, right? Like you miss a hockey game. It's like the end of the world, right? We lost that tournament because
it's like my 6-year-old didn't show up. I'm sorry, we were busy.
We counted on that kid for the goals.
Nobody's gonna remember. No, it's sports are out of control. It's a whole another topic, but. It's especially I think hockey is very broken as far as like the academies and the private hockey and
you've been
specialization.
You've been through that machine too.
It's hard to see it. In fact, and like I'm scared for my kids. I really don't almost want them to play hockey. I mean, it's really.
How about ringette?
I love ringette. I'm pushing ringette on everyone. Every girl that I see that's like is thinking about hockey, play ringette. It's the greatest sport there is.
And you got Vanessa. Probably one of the best ringette players ever seen.
She's a great player.
She still skate or what? That's awesome, right? She could skate like the wind.
She's a good player.
Yeah. Anything else you want to touch on?
No, that's great. I mean, I think I touched today. I said we're foster parents. We just talked to our social worker the other day, but there's I think there's like something like 80. There's under 100 foster families, and they need like 200 foster families in Kelowna alone. So like there's a massive sort of shortfall. So people are really experiencing a lot of.
So what is the commitment like when you do that? Like
it was about a year process. So there's some training and there's like a vetting process, and like it's a really rigorous process to become. It's not expensive. It's just a time consuming kind of thing. But once you're kind of approved foster parent, you can decide whether you want to take a 1 kid, 2 kid. You decide how many beds. You can do respite or relief. So for foster families, who currently have them, you can take theirs for a weekend or a week or help them.
Oh, okay.
Or there's people in the foster system who just like they go into care and they need home for a week, or you can be like a full-time foster parent, which we were and have been. So we don't have any kids at this exact moment, but there were in between. So but anyway, the need is incredible. The barriers aren't too bad. It takes a little bit of time, but man, it is there's a ton of foster families that are experiencing massive burnout. So if you're looking to give back and you love kids of all ages, whether it's a baby or a teenager, there's you can kind of get specific on your needs, but the needs are endless. We were getting calls every week. It's like, hey, can you take this person? You got this? So like the phone is ringing for the need, and so. Whew, man, it's
we billeted it for like 6 years, which is a big commitment as well.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And like those are just older kids, right?
Yeah. This is that. I mean, they have older kids in the foster system for sure,
Yeah.
and some of those are living in group homes, and they need families. But the group homes are getting bigger, and there's less and less families doing it. So anyway, that's my little plug on fostering. I think everyone should try and do it. And there's no special skills required. People are like, how could you do that? It's like, well, we're not special. Like anyone can do it, and so you just gotta do it.
It's a commitment for sure.
It's
right?
just a commitment, yeah.
And then on commitment though, like you did West Kelowna for 4 years. Yeah. It must be nice driving around and seeing some of the stuff that you were part of, though, right? Like you've had decision making in that, and
I was looking at different subdivisions, different developments. Like, oh, we approved that. Like I remember that now it's coming to light. Even the city hall, it's being finished, but just little.
West Kelowna has done some really nice things out there, right? Like,
we're growing a lot. The need that people, it's hard because people don't want it to grow. People have lived there for a long time. They don't want it to grow, but it's like, well, you have people from all over Canada, BC want to move here. So why is it my job to say you can't move here just because I'm already here? And so I don't think that's a fair mindset. So I want to see growth. It has to be done appropriately. But it was cool to see. I drive around with my kids sometimes. Oh, hey, I remember we did that. We approved that. And I made input. I actually told them to put a sidewalk on the other side of the road on a development that I saw recently. I was telling my family. Nice. And so I was like, oh, this is it. And they listened.
Because you look at West Kelowna, when you drive into West Kelowna, like you've been here for quite a while now too, right? It was old McDonald's farm, the water slide, it
was totally rural. Yeah.
Kind of like go-karts and all that kind of stuff.
It was this like kind of like a farmland.
And a bunch of fields, right? Yeah. And then now there's quite a few businesses built up out there. I think just a little bit of work needs to be done in that downtown core there, a little revitalization down there and that. And then,
because you come across and you're integrated with West Bank First Nations and their own, I mean, it's two different governments kind of working together and intermingling. You drive somewhere, you don't know what land you're on, whether you're on West Bank First Nation land or City of West Kelowna. And it doesn't really matter, but they're a growing population base on their lands as well. So.
Any big plans in West Kelowna, do you think, coming up?
No, I think, we did a lot. Like we did the city hall, we did the water treatment plant. Those are massive projects that we moved
Rose
forward.
Valley was huge.
It was really, it was like, when I got on council, that wasn't done. It wasn't going to be close. We had to make some really hard decisions to move it. And we did it. It took way longer than we ever thought, but we got it done. Now City Hall, tough decisions that weren't made previously that we made. And so that's like, again, not everyone, those aren't always popular. But when you look at the bigger, what is the needs of your community, you can take a step back and say, I think this is the best thing for.
And then your fire department stepped up big last year too, right?
They did. That was cool. We have some great people on that, and even that, like we hired, like they were such a shortage of staff. And when one of our first things on council was we almost doubled the staff. We added like 10 people, 10 new firefighters as one of the first things we do now, where they're building a new fire hall. So all these decisions, you get to say, hey, I'm like I was involved in something. Certainly not all were great. Some bad decisions. I wish you'd go back and say, hey, well, we could have done this, should have done this. But that is, I guess that's that for next time.
Well, if Stephen Johnson moves on to provincial politics, and then maybe the mayor seat's there for you.
Hey, there you go. You know what?
You sound like a guy that always has to be busy.
A couple years, as the kids get a little bit older, you know what? The life changes and evolves, and that was a great experience I had. So I certainly wouldn't be opposed to doing it at some point. But if I've been in a season where my family is going to want me and need me to be around as much as possible.
Yeah, in any great community, we need great people with courage and conviction, and family people for sure to lead the way. And Jayson Zilkie, a great example of that, right? Thank you for coming in, and thank you for watching Kelowna Now.
All right.